time to do another job? I don't understand it. They're not just talking to the Women's Voluntary Service. People are directors of companies and advisors and all sorts of proper jobs.
They are. And all
of that will be... job?
In addition to being a Member of Parliament, I'm a non-executive director of one company, yes.
And what does that mean, now?
What does it mean? It means about 10 times or 12 times a year, I do spend most of a day with that company on a non-executive basis. I'm not, I don't work for that company, but I am part of the board of that company.
Do you get paid?
I get paid for that, yes.
And are you going to declare that you're paid?
Yes, of course.
Do you want to declare it now, or are you going to wait?
It is, of course, in the Register of Members' Interests. That is already in the Register of Members' Interests, so that's no...
Well, how much you earn is down there?
No, it isn't. The fact is I'm paid £24,000 a year for that job. And gross. And the truth of the matter is...
Come on, it's 12 days, be fair.
And in fact, you want to say, well, OK, do I do a full-time job? As a Member of Parliament and Shadow Secretary of State for Health, I certainly believe that I do.
No, I've always imagined it's an incredibly time-consuming job. That's why I'm surprised that you got time for other stuff.
And do you think, from my point of view, do you think, well, I mean, I'll tell you, I know from my point of view, I think it would be improper in government to have other jobs because of the risk of conflicts of interest. But in my case, actually, I know that it offers me the opportunity, completely outside my responsibilities in Parliament, to understand what is happening in British business, in companies, in a commercial context, which otherwise I've been out of the commercial context for 10 years.
Can you just... Well, all right, just clarify what you said. Are you saying that if the Conservative Party becomes the majority party after the next election, anyone who's in the Cabinet or anyone who's in government or all Conservative MPs, because of their influence, will give up anybody
in government, clearly.
In government, not in the Cabinet, anyone in government.
Anyone in government.
And is that the rule now?
Yes.
Is that what happens now?
I haven't got a second job.
No.
have you been offered one?
No. As Frank says, being a Member of Parliament, it's a privilege, it's a full-time job, and most people work very hard at it.
Yes.
But can I just...
But when you were not a minister, did you have any other additional...
No, I didn't.
No, all right. Well,
no, I've been a full-time MP since I was elected 10 years ago, and I mean, the answer, if I may come in, David, the answer to the lady's question is, in the end, the electorate will be the judge, because there is actually no mechanism apart from who you vote for at the next election to sack MPs. But I think when those expense results come out, a lot of people will look very, very carefully at it. And
but it can be we
were talking about Gordon Brown. The fact is, Norman's right in one respect. This has been a problem for too long. Parliament hasn't got a grip of it. And do you think for one moment that we would have actually brought about the changes that Parliament has voted for today if it hadn't been for the leadership that Gordon Brown has provided? Now that's the truth, because every time Parliament looks at it, they say, well, let's put it off, we'll have a committee, and so on and so forth. Gordon Brown said, look, we've got to get a grip of this. And the fact that
the committee to do it.
The fact that Gordon Brown's proposed that second jobs should have to be declared, and my understanding is, did David Cameron actually vote for that proposal today? Because I'm not sure that he did.
No.
Now, well, why not?
Because we said it's unworkable in the form in which...
It seems pretty workable to me.
The point is, what Gordon Brown did was he sent it off to a committee saying it must be determined independently. David Cameron, from the very beginning, was saying not only must we have more transparency, but actually we should not be deciding about our pay and expenses. It should be done independently. Gordon Brown's approach was to say, instead of being paid for the expenses that we necessarily incur in living away from home, instead we should be paid money without receipts on the basis that we would simply be paid for turning up at the House.
Norman Baker, just
completely retrograde step.
You have a nose for these things. Is it normally the case that anybody in government gives up any other job that they've got, any second job, once they're appointed a minister?
Yes, that's the expectation.
That would be normal.
And I think it should apply, frankly, to the Shadow Cabinet as well, because there are some conflicts of interest there. But can I just pick up Hilary on the point that Gordon Brown is the saviour of the world in this particular matter? Nothing could be further from the truth. It wasn't very long ago in the Commons when there was a Conservative MP who introduced a bill to exempt MPs entirely for freedom of information, which I tried to filibuster. And do you know what happened? The Cabinet and Ministers turned out on a Friday, Hillary didn't, but Cabinet and Ministers turned out on a Friday to vote to try and make sure that made progress.
OK. Leanne Wood, and then come to the person up there. Yes.
Well, people were very angry, weren't they, about the drip of information about individual Cabinet members' expenses, and in particular the second home allowance. MPs earn something like around £65,000 a year, and that's topped up then by a second home allowance worth, I think, is about £24,000 a year. So if you've got another job on top then, like Andrew here, earning another £24,000 a year, you're not doing very badly, are you? But I think that because of the current economic circumstances, people are not prepared to accept that MPs should decide on their own rules. Because going back to the initial question, should MPs be sacked? Well, you can't be sacked unless you've actually broken some kind of rule. So these rules do need to be looked at urgently. I don't think it's MPs who should be writing the rules. I think personally that the second home allowance should be abolished, that a £65,000 a year salary is enough to be living on. But the real concern out of all this is that there's a danger that these kinds of issues will bring politics into disrepute. And during an economic crisis and all the other crises that we face, we talked earlier about the swine flu, we cannot afford for politics to be brought into disrepute. We need a strong government, we need strong politicians, we need them to be honest, and we need them to have integrity and the confidence of people.